SPY and QQQ could have made me how much money last year? Oh boy, was I doing it all wrong. My name is John Ross of Finance on a Budget. If you're curious about the best ETFs to buy and hold, then this video is for you. Really quickly though, let's have a look at what exactly an ETF, exchange traded fund, actually is. Similar to a mutual fund, a single ETF stock already contains a pre-selected collection of stocks or bonds, usually within a related field. It could be focused on a specific industry like biotech, technology, cryptocurrency, or even a particular index such as the S&P 500. From gold to McDonald's, there is an ETF for everything. The strong benefit to owning ETF stock, as opposed to a single company outright, is that if a single stock or bond in the collection is performing poorly, there's a good chance that another one is performing well, which helps minimize your overall losses. How ETF investing works. Over the last few years, there has definitely been a boom in the amount of people gravitating towards ETFs, and there are many different reasons for it. Number one is that it is a low-cost way to invest while still keeping you diversified. By their nature, they reduce a huge amount of risk factor that is typically associated with stocks. Let's say you like Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, and Google, otherwise known as FANG. If you would like to own the stock in all four, that would cost you more than $6,500 based on my current market prices. That's a lot of money for 5 stocks. However, you could simply purchase QQQ at $340 or VUG at $280 or IWF at $260. Each of these 3 ETFs include the aforementioned stocks as part of a portfolio. These ETFs buy into expensive stocks and you can buy into the affordable ETFs, which give you exposure to a percentage of the stocks inside of it. This means that when the individual stocks go up, the ETF can go up as well. They also pay out dividends for the included stocks. This allows you to simply put your money into a single ETF and let the ETF itself do all the heavy lifting of what should or shouldn't be included in that portfolio. Differences between ETFs. Globally, the 2 biggest ETF providers out there are BlackRock with over 380 ETFs and Vanguard with over 70 different ETFs. To amplify all this, there are another 100 ETF issuers, and each one offers their own set of ETFs. This can easily get crazy confusing. So let's look into how to narrow down your options. 3 very popular ETF options are SPY, IVV, and VOO, which all include the top 500 companies in the United States. All 3 of these trend very closely to each other. The downside with these ETFs is that the annual yields are only about 1.40%. This means they only pay out about $5.50 in yearly dividends. You can literally make more money recycling bottles. While they are very safe for investing, after 50 years, the payout per share isn't very much. To retire with $1 million, you would need each of these ETFs to grow in actual value gradually over time, then reinvest the dividends back into the ETF. Conceptually, you may be better suited to start with SDIV, which has an annual dividend yield of 6.70%. The price is only $14 instead of $400 each. This means that you could buy 27 shares of the same money and get a return of $26.80 per year. However, the market is never as predictable as that. After the crash of 2020, SPY had catapulted past its market low of $218 and is now valued at $200 more per share. SDIV only came back a comparable $162, so in the short run, SPY would have been a more valuable asset. The real lesson here is diversification. Since you never know which stock is going to skyrocket or fall, you should spread your money around to different types of ETFs. You could put your money into DVYE and enjoy 4.81% return, or SDEM at 5.64%, but they are newer funds, therefore they are harder to predict where they're going. Remember that if a stock is going to pay a dividend, then they are less likely to grow in stock value. For example, McDonald's was $225 at the start of 2020, and now, a year later, it's $235. Meanwhile, Tesla does not pay out dividends. Instead, they put their money into research and development, which is what keeps people buying the stock. Its future potential. This is where the risk versus reward comes into play. The 5 best ETFs to buy and hold. With all these things in mind, here are my top recommended ETFs for long-term gain. iShares MSCI USA Min Vol Factor ETF, ticker code USMV. If stability is the name of your game, then this is the ETF for you. If you are afraid of another stock market crash, then this ETF will keep your mind at ease. It focuses on the biggest and most stable companies like PepsiCo and Merck Pharmaceuticals. The overall price won't turn into a rocket ship making you thousands, but if you're older and you need to keep your life savings somewhere secure, then this should still make you some money on the side. Better than a savings account anyway. Vanguard Growth ETF, ticker code VUG. This ETF focuses on companies that are growing faster than their peers. However, they are not focused on any targeted sector. It's simply all about how fast the company is growing. From tech to brick and mortar to railroads. It doesn't matter as they are all fair game. Growth stocks are just that, growing. So it's going to take them some time to mature. But the upside is that they are all fundamentally strong and they will hold their value in the long run. Vanguard Information Technology, ticker code VGT. If you're big on tech companies, then look no farther than VGT. This list of stocks they follow are focused on the biggest 340 companies in the technology sector. However, there is more of a risk here. You will have an opportunity to win big, but just as easily big losses too. However, if you're young, time is on your side, and you can be more aggressive with your choices by taking on more risk. Spider S&P 500 ETF, ticker code SPY. This is the largest for a reason. While it may not pay out as much in dividends, it is tracking the top 500 companies. There will always be winners and losers of stock. This is why going with SPY is great, because all of the biggest companies will be covered. Nearly everybody has SPY in their stock portfolio. And my number one pick is Invesco QQQ ETF, ticker code QQQ. This ETF follows the NASDAQ top 100 United States companies. This fund returned nearly 3 times as much as SPI in 2020 because they took their available funds and invested into top 100 winners, instead of 100 winners and 400 losers like SPY. Keep in mind that just because the stock is in the top 500, they are not all created equal. By comparison, it's the top 10% of the companies that keep the other 90% afloat. The way I see it, staying focused on the best companies will yield you the best results.